I have no interest in being happy. I wake up and say, how can I be proud of myself? What can I? I'm the man of the household. Only you. And if you don't pay the bills, who's going to do it? Your wife's just going to what? Go get a job, get like 5 jobs and raise your kids? How's she going to do that? You must be prepared for these things. That is what you're working for. So if you wake up every day as a man and you say, I don't have motivation to become strong. I don't want to work hard and get rich. I don't want to try and become financially free. What you're saying is that the second you disappear, everyone who loves you and respected you and relied on you is going to starve. How can you live that way as a man? Absolutely and utterly unacceptable. I train every single day, and it doesn't matter how I feel. So, in fact, I would actually argue that the number one way to deal with most of life's problems is always the same thing. You were saying that people deal with things in many different ways. That is true. But in my experience of life, there's only one way to deal with anything. It doesn't matter if you're heartbroken. It doesn't matter if you're sad. It doesn't matter if your bank balance is low. It doesn't matter if you lose a family member. It doesn't matter what it is. The answer to everything is always the same. Hard work. Work harder. The worse things are, the harder I will work. Jail changed me and I had some trouble in there. I never missed a single day's training. Since I've left jail, I can't sleep. I have nightmares. I've been training harder than I've ever trained. I put it all over Twitter. I'm doing 6-7 hour days. I could sit around and complain about being tired. I could sit around and be a bitch. I could sit around and cry. Or I could just work harder than I've ever worked. It's fantastic that I can't sleep. It's all the time I need. So I can train endlessly. So my point is the answer is always hard work. What else is my answer going to be? I'm struggling with something. I'm going to work less. Does that make sense to you? How's that going to fix anything? Now, as I decipher the puzzle, because that's what life is, it's a puzzle. And as I decipher the lesson that's been bestowed upon me by God, and as I repair my...
If you don't know where you're going in life and you don't have a direction, sit down, close your eyes, imagine that you're dead and gone, and think about the overall story of how they would talk about you at your funeral with your loved ones in the room and you laying there in that casket. It's a very powerful exercise. I advise all young men to do it. It will really help get your perspective of your life, where you're going, what you're currently doing in line, and kind of put a foot in your ass, because it's a dark thing to do, but I think it's a very healthy thing for any man to do and to revisit.
There's one thing that's guaranteed in life, and that's death. And the thing you guys got to understand is that on your tombstone, it's going to have your birthday followed by your death day. And what you're defined by is a dash in between. What did you do during that fucking dash? Right. And I don't think enough guys take that seriously. During that dash, did you create a legacy or did you embarrass the legacy? Did you make the people around you better or did you be a detriment to society? Are people proud to carry your last name? Is your son going to be able to walk into a room and people are going to respect him off of your accomplishments? Or that he's going to be embarrassed, he's going to have to change his last name because of your failures? Right. Is the woman that you had, is she going to be proud and be able to sit there and actually cry real sobs of sorrow?
Yeah.
Because you passed away, or is she going to cry tears of joy because you're a fucking loser and she's going to get a better guy?
And this is also not an excuse for a young man to put it off until his 30s.
That's true.
Because your hard work and your dedication and your grit and all that shit, that is not a guaranteed path to success. Many, many people have given their heart to their business and failed, flat out fucking failed. They did everything right. They went to bed, they didn't party, they studied, they did everything, and they still fucking lost. So if you're young, you might need to do that enough times. And in fact, in a lot of ways, I feel like I experienced this.
Yeah.
I banged my head against this fucking business again and again and again and again and again and again and never got what I was really looking for. Like I had goals for 30 that I did not hit because I was not qualified to make them at 24.
Yep.
I set goals at 24 that I was not qualified to make at that time for 30. And so when I got to 30, in a lot of ways, I felt like I failed, but I kept pushing against that thing and I finally hit that motherfucker and it cracked open. And for that reason, what if I would have started at 31? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be sitting here at 36 at where I'm at. So it's not an excuse to put it off for the young guys, but if you are in your 30s and you haven't started yet, dude, your clock is gonna run. Dude, you could be a big G at 50, 55. You have plenty of runway. Get started at any time because it's never not a good time to start. If you're trying to be comfortable, you're not going to put yourself through the pain of studying and understanding and the pain of doing so you don't become competent. If you don't become competent, then you have to face fear in a different way.
Yeah.
Like let's say I needed to estimate a metal building project and the building was 100,000 square feet. If I had not gone through the pain of doing 5,000 square foot, 10,000, bam, bam, bam. Now I can just take a phone call and be like, okay, what's the size of the building? Take me through the spreadsheet. I can see that spreadsheet in my mind. I built it.
Yeah.
And so like I can see every row when they're telling me like the different attributes, this kind of panel, this kind of walls, got a weld over here, this kind of roof, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, how much? And did you put this in there? Did you account this? Okay, cool. Send out the bid. That bid might be 700, 800 grand. Just one project, boom. I might make $200-300 grand. I took a phone call.
Yeah.
I'm not scared because I went through all the pain. I got away from comfort.
Yep.
That comfort builds competence.
Yep.
And when you have competence, what other people would look at as fear, I look at as fucking money.
I do think the real world is the best online school ever be assembled. If you want to work on the internet, the real world is the thing to do, because the guys that are teaching those